Good day, and welcome to another episode of Throwing It Back with Sean Farrell. I am Sean Farrell. God is great all the time. All the time, God is great. And let's get right to it. So, there was a scandal in the NBA. There was a drug scandal in the NBA that rocked the league. And when David Stern came in '84, he instituted a drug policy, and Michael Ray Richardson was the first one to be banned for life in the middle of the '85-'86 season. Then, of course, you had Mitchell Wiggins, Lewis Lloyd, pretty much basically lost their careers because of drug suspensions. Okay. Now, Mitchell Wiggins did return and play a few years. Lewis Lloyd returned, but played only like 15 games for the Rockets in 1990. And so their careers were pretty much over after the drug suspension. So, but I never knew about the Phoenix Suns drug scandal that happened in 1987. Okay. There was a Phoenix Suns drug scandal that happened. Okay. And so there were 9 men with 21 felony counts of possession or trafficking, and a 10th one was charged with obstruction of justice. Among those indicted were current Suns James Edwards, rookie Grant Gond Zirek, and Jay Humphreys. Okay. They all passed drug tests. Okay. They all passed drug tests, but they could have faced a lifetime ban if they were found guilty on trafficking charges and whatnot. Well, obviously James Edwards played for at least 7-8 more years, and Jay Humphreys played for several more years after that. Then, as you recall, in the midst of Phoenix Suns making wholesale changes in the '87-'88 season, they traded James Edwards to the Detroit Pistons. They actually traded James Edwards and William Bedford to the Detroit Pistons. Okay. And so there were former Suns Mike Bratz, Garfield Hurd, and believe it or not, Walter Davis. And William Bedford was not indicted, but he was mentioned. But he was mentioned in the investigation they were doing on the Phoenix Suns. Okay. And they called William Bedford a problem child rookie his first year in Phoenix. Okay. Then lo and behold, he gets traded to Detroit along with James Edwards. Okay. But ex-Suns also mentioned Don Buse, Johnny High, Curtis Perry, Alvin Scott, and Walter Davis had trouble with cocaine and alcohol abuse, and he entered rehab in 1985 and was treated for cocaine and alcohol abuse. Okay. So what they were basically saying was that Walter Davis spilled all the beans. Okay. They said Walter Davis was the snitch who ratted out his other Phoenix Suns teammates. Okay. That's what they were saying back then. Okay. And Walter Davis admitted to having various transactions with cocaine, marijuana, with 8 of the defendants that were charged in the drug offense. So Walter Davis used coke along with the people who were charged in the tra- in the drug scandal, the Phoenix Suns drug scandal. Okay, and William Bedford was cited as having been offered drugs by James Edwards and having witnessed a drug transaction involving the rookie um, Gon Gon Rezick. Okay, and William Bedford was actually given immunity, believe it or not. And of course, there was a ton of fallout from that. Walter Davis actually checked himself back in to drug and alcohol treatment. So Walter Davis went back in, and of course William Bedford. Oh man, oh man. William Bedford struggled with his drug addiction. After he was traded to the Pistons, he missed the entire 1989 season. He spent the entire 1989 season in drug rehab. Okay, then came back in 1990. Then came back in 1990. Played about four more years, but William Bedford later on had drug charges that led to his jailing in Texas. So yeah. Um, so John McCloud was fired in the midst of his scandal, and he was replaced by Dick Van Arsdale, one of the former Phoenix Suns, and there was some who believed that this drug scandal might have cost John McCloud his job. And at the time, John McCloud said he didn't know a single thing about the drug scandal that was happening among his players. He knew nothing. And Dick Van Arsdale was quoted as saying, Walter Davis was the one that surprised me the most. Dick Van Arsdale was quoted as saying Walter Davis was the one that surprised him the most. And so among that, there were gambling rumors among the Phoenix Suns as well. And so you had all this taking place during the 1987 season. You had all this turmoil